Welcome everybody to Meet the Artist. Thank you for joining us. We are at Slow Gallery today and we are interviewing Mark Schoening.
Schoening, very good.
Schoening, woo! I did it, okay. And so, are you a photographer?
No, I'm a painter.
Woohoo! Because that's all we've done today is photographers.
Glad you're familiar with my work. Yes.
Well, I'm just like, everybody here is, everybody today's been a photographer, so I'm like, I'm assuming that that's what you did. But yes, that's my bad. My bad.
That's okay. Well,
I should have.
If you were to see the paintings, that might trigger some questions. But give it your best shot.
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you're a person.
That's true. Well, no, really, I'm just a collection of paintings.
Oh, that's it?
Pretty much.
Oh, okay. All right.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. So then, how long have you been painting?
About a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you're new.
Yes.
So tell me why.
Well, I've sketched my whole life since
Okay.
I was, I think 4 years old probably, and then I chose a career that was sort of artist engineer. I have a degree in industrial design, and so what that means is that I know how to design products for mass production. But my real job is to make products enjoyable, fun to use, all that sort of
Easy,
thing. So,
user-friendly.
so I'm hopefully the reason why you buy that beautiful object instead of that ugly object, because that was my thing. So that's what I did for a career, and so my education was again art and engineering, and so in my career I did a lot of visualizing, so a lot of visualization of products. So that's sort of a art component. But I always wondered if I had the luxury of having the time to pursue fine arts, could I do it? So about a year ago I decided to give it a try, and turns out I can do it. So yeah. So there you go.
Did you shock yourself?
A little bit. It was a little surprising. Yeah.
Did it come much easier than you thought? Did you think it was going to be like, this is going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be hard?
Interestingly, I think the surprise was that I could do it at all, but the joy and surprise for me is I know I can spend the rest of my life always getting better at it. So that's exciting to me.
Right, you can always improve and learn and try new things.
It's like if I could just do it and be done with it, that wouldn't interest me. But knowing that in theory every painting I do will be better and better, that's exciting to me. So that's
then you try different things.
You do, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. No, it's I'm not
it's
afraid
always
of
evolving.
And I'm not afraid of failure on any level. It's like this next painting may or may not turn out. I don't really care. It's a joy to do, and
how much time on average do you spend on a painting?
Well, interestingly, I can, and if you were to see my paintings, this would mean more or less to you.
I'm going to stop this and go look.
But
where's your stuff?
You should.
Oh,
you want to go see?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go see.
Okay, so we're back, and do you have a website?
No.
No website. Oh, that means you have to come see here. So before I'm done tonight, I'll do a little thing of your picture. So then you guys know what we're looking at too. So
Good.
Okay.
So the question was, how long does it take me to do these paintings that you will have now seen? Typically 3 or 4 days, and I can only paint for sort of a half a day at a time.
Okay.
So because it's tiring, believe it or not. I stand up when I do it, and so I'm standing the whole time, and you're going back and forth and painting and changing the music and making a cocktail and
right.
all
Yes,
those
I
things.
do.
So
know all those
takes
things.
time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, those are all important components to the painting.
Right.
For sure. Okay, so that it's fascinating to me. But you've had art in your world, like in your world in general, like design,
yes.
like so you have an eye for color, shade.
Yes.
I mean, you would have to.
But no, you do. But well, and in fact, my cohort, my peers, are all doing illustrations digitally. So
Okay, right.
you know, Adobe Illustrator or whatever, and so I can do that. I know how to do that. But pushing paint around with this odd object, you know, that's all hairy and stuff. It's a really interesting challenge. It's difficult, and
Yeah.
it's much more difficult than doing it digitally, for example. So I love the challenge.
I'm super intimidated by the digital.
Are you?
Right? Yeah. I'm just like,
See, you're young enough. I would have thought that would come easy for you.
Well, thank you. I don't know how old you think I am, but I'm not of that age. Just so you know, like I am not there. I am of the like. I'd rather read a book than a Kindle. Right.
Yeah, right. Sure.
I'd rather
sure.
have paper in my hand.
Yeah.
I'd rather let me just print that out so I can look at it.
Right.
I mean that ages me, but
Right.
it is like that is who I am. Now I'm also tactile,
Yeah.
so having something to hold or touch is important.
Yeah.
So, but I find it fascinating that you chose to paint, because I think a lot of people might have chosen to do the digital art, and I mean, and it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I paint also, so I understand the feeling of pushing paint on canvas. Like there's definitely something about that I don't know, and you can and you really lose yourself in it, right?
You
like
do,
so, you know, when your half a day is done, you're like, whoa, like it's been a half a day.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's true. Time goes away. It's true.
And you lose it, and that to me is like the very best thing about
magic.
art. But maybe digital artists get like they have that same moment of like getting lost in it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I would not even be able to say.
It's too easy to cheat digitally. It's you can, in my opinion, let the computer do a lot of the work, and the what's the word I'm looking for? That the nature of physical paint is there's kind of no cheating. I mean, it's
no.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no. And nobody's gonna do it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. Then look at your stuff first, and you interacted with
Right. No, I forgot.
Okay, so now I'm super curious because if you've only been doing it a year, I feel like you've made a lot of progress in a year.
I think so. I have saved the very first one I tried, and it's atrocious, but I saved it on purpose. So no, it's I think the I don't know how to say this. The learning curve has been steep, but not difficult. It's like every painting has been mostly better and better. And I've done a couple of paintings over again because I could see that I could have done this better, and so I do the exact same painting again, and sure enough,
make it better.
Yeah.
So tell me about the process of commission work versus like painting for yourself.
So you will have seen that I decided one day to see if I could paint animals. Love animals, and the first one, Doug, was the black dog up there. He was my first try, and it turned out pretty well. And so I've done a few since then, and I love my pets. People love their pets. There's a real like commercial opportunity there, right? Because which is not why I'm doing this.
Right, that is a component of any of our art, right?
Right, yeah.
Like if you want to sell stuff, or do commissions, or make money at it, then there has to be some commercial aspect to it, right?
It seemed like there's an
opportunity.
Consumer,
desirable.
Right, and so one of the beauties of our digital world is I was able to do some research online and see you know, kind of what people were doing. And generally I was not very impressed. So I thought there again, it was an opportunity to somebody,
right.
you know, if I could do it well, then there might be an opportunity. So yeah, so far that's turning out good. I'm enjoying it.
So in the commission piece, are you most of your commission pieces animals?
They're all animals.
Okay.
I've done two that also have the person's face, the person holding an animal or whatever. But portraits are not coming easy to me at all. I'm doing them, but they take way longer than I usually take on a painting, and I'm not completely convinced that I'm nailing the likeness. So I'm going to keep at it, but portraits are difficult for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that some people are just extremely gifted in the face.
Yeah.
And then some are.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I am, but I also feel like if I spent some real time, that I could be. And I feel like once I learn that, right? Once I spend the time and really learn it, then I feel like it could flow more easily. It's a challenge to me too.
I think so. And once again, the resources available online are infinite.
Oh
and so I have already seen several videos that were very instructive, and I'm kind of anxious to jump in and try it again already.
Right.
So yeah, so I think I can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So where do you see this going? Are you still working? You're still working.
No, I'm retired.
Oh, you're retired. So yay you.
Yeah.
So where do you see like this taking you?
It's funny. I'm a busy guy. I have lots of hobbies, but painting is taking up a significant part of my what used to be spare time, I guess. But I really enjoy it. So, and it's a compared to some of my other hobbies, it's a relatively inexpensive hobby as far as the costume materials and that sort of thing. So yeah, so it's high value. You know, I get a lot of enjoyment for a very little amount of money investment anyway. So, so I would imagine that it will continue to take up basically a third of my life. I spend the other third of my life with music and just trying to sort of stay fit because that's important. Because we're old, exactly right. So yeah, so that's what I do.
So would you like to like do a big show, like a solo?
I can imagine doing that at some point. Part of what I'm discovering is I think I'm fairly prolific, and so my walls are full of paintings, and so part of the reason why I have them in the gallery here is just so that I have a place to put them. So that's part of my motivation, and they will continue to multiply. And so I need a strategy for because that's no good to just let them pile up. And and so but what I've really enjoyed is I've sold a few, not enough to justify anything, but the paintings that I've done because there was a reason as a gift or whatever, the joy that brings is priceless. And so I will absolutely continue to do that for that reason, not so much for them. So the answer to a show is, if it's an excuse to have people that like me come in and I get to interact with them, sure. That's fun. What I want to do.
Right. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. That's an interesting story. So it's still kind of boggling my mind that you've only been doing it a year. But I agree with the storage problem. Right. Like it is an issue. How did you feel the first time you sold something? Were you like, no, shut up, somebody bought my stuff?
Well, the first one was a commission.
Oh.
And it was for a friend of mine, and so I had that question: is this person really just buying this because they're my friend? But I think not. I think it was a good painting, I think it turned out well. So, no, I think that's there. I think there's a couple of related interesting things about that. For one thing, I have kind of priced my paintings probably fairly high.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure I really want to sell them. They're like my kids, you know, and so I'm still at that stage where do I really want to let go of this?
Most artists are.
Okay, well, this is all only a year old or a year new for me, so that was a surprise to me that I would do that.
Let it go.
But the other thing is that for X number of dollars, anything less than that, I'd rather have it hanging on my wall so I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
So
so it's the value to you.
The value to me, exactly. Interestingly, I've there are a few paintings that I really don't care about. In fact, a couple of them they were kind of in the throwaway pile, but people, you know, had been reacting to them, so I thought, what the heck? And so those, of course, I'm willing to sell, you know,
and they're cheap.
And they're cheap. Exactly. So anyway, so that's been a fun experience because again, I'm retired. I've designed my life. It's pretty darn simple. You know, I built a little house down in the Pomo, and it's all paid for, and so my expenses are very low, and my tastes are pretty simple. I exercise, and I play a little golf, and play music, and paint, and so I don't need the money per se. You know,
right.
A little extra money is fine, but yeah, it's definitely not about the money for me. So.
Is it surprising to you that people have your stuff on their walls?
I love it. That's always a huge compliment.
Yeah.
A lot of my paintings are around such that I only see them in photographs of somebody's space.
Oh, right.
And that's huge. That's a great feeling for sure. Yeah.
What would you so starting out late, you know, I mean, I don't know if it's ever late.
Right. I know you're not offending me in my age,
but I mean, because it seems late. However, you obviously started at the time you were supposed to start.
I guess, right?
Do you know what I mean? I think that you started exactly when you were just supposed to start. If you had started, you know, 5 years ago, like you might still just be exactly where you are. But with 5 years of like struggling to get here, right? So
well, I know this isn't the point of your question, but what it makes me think of is I could have started 5 years ago, and actually should have, because I feel like I kind of wasted the last 5 years of my life not painting. What I'm doing now is so much more satisfying than what I ended up doing in my career, and I had a fun career, but it had run its course. You know, it's
sure,
I've done everything I wanted to do in that career. So yeah, mostly I feel like I do wish I'd have started earlier, but not for any other reason than it's just a better use of my time.
Right. Yeah. How it makes you feel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So yay, that's awesome. I love this story.
Yeah.
So do you have you gotten to know some of the other artists here?
Yes, and that's been a joy.
Been
It's been really a joy. Yeah. I have loved connecting with other artists here. You know, everybody that I've met is just friendly and supportive and interesting, and so yeah, it's been a joy.
Yeah, it's a great community.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's this is the first time I've ever had anything in a gallery, and so this is my first experience, and this is a very, not having anything else to compare it to, this is a very, very community oriented experience, as opposed to maybe a high-end gallery where maybe I would never get to meet the artist, or I don't know. The variety here, and just the I get the sense that nobody takes themselves awfully seriously. You know, they're it just seems like a friendly bunch. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's been nice.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah. And at the same time, the way that this gallery works, and I know your listeners know this, but it's kind of a co-op thing, so we all put in a few hours a month, and that's been a joy too. And it's been getting busier, which has been fun. But I've had some of the best conversations with total strangers who just happen to be walking by, and those have been really, really good conversations.
Well, and it gives you an opportunity. How many of those people are local?
That's a really good question. I want to say most of them. Yeah, I don't think I don't recall being surprised by anybody, unexpected. Okay. I think local has been my experience.
So that's nice. So you're getting to know people you would have never got to meet anywhere.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
For sure.
But are still part of your community as a whole.
Very much, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. No, it's been a real advantage to this experience.
Will you take classes, or do you watch YouTube or anything like that to get maybe problem solve?
When I feel like I'm a little bit stuck, I've used online resources, and that's been great. One of the things that I paint so far exclusively from photographs.
Okay.
And I do want to have the experience of painting plein air, So I'm likely to do that with
Plein air
somebody.
is kind of a photograph, right? Because you're still sitting in a spot looking at a thing.
You're out in fresh air, and you're painting from life, a scene.
Right.
Usually landscapes, right? But so. But
I still feel like it's because once you sit down to paint something, right, that's what you're painting.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think it's a super interesting question, because when you paint from an image, from a photograph,
okay,
the translation of three-dimensional has already happened to something two-dimensional, and then all you have to do is copy that, reinterpret that two-dimensional image. No, it's a challenge to paint from three-dimensional objects. Not to mention the lighting is always changing, and if you're trying to paint a wave, it's constantly moving, versus an image the wave is static, so you can understand what's really going on. No, it's a good challenge, but I know enough, or I can appreciate, having seen plein air paintings enough to know that there's a different energy to the painting when it's from life. So
we're gonna have to experience.
Yeah. So that's a challenge I'm looking forward to. What else? Seems like I had another comment there. It's my age.
Okay, now see, you brought it up that time, so.
Yeah, right.
All right, so do you have any wisdom, any words of advice?
Oh gosh. I'm constantly learning just about painting and kind of what motivates me, and I've come to I find this interesting, that what I'm going for in a painting is really all about illusion. So I'm not trying to paint every eyelash and paint. Yeah, it's more like how can one brush stroke imply all this texture, or imply fur, so the illusion part of painting really intrigues me. So I strive to learn how to communicate more and more information with fewer and fewer brush strokes.
Okay.
That's sort of where I'm headed.
You're well on your way to an abstract artist.
Well, no, see, and that's the sort of obvious deduction, but no, that's not at all what I mean. What I mean is that I'm intrigued by how the human brain can translate a smudge of paint into somebody's eye, or I love that. So yeah, I frankly don't understand abstract art. Some of it appeals to me, some of it doesn't. I couldn't begin to explain it, or have no interest in doing it.
Yeah, and I say that because the artists that I've spoke to that are abstract, or even like some of the sculptors that I've interviewed that are abstract, they that's their like that would be something they would say to me when they're
and
talking
I'm sure that's
about
true.
their
I'm sure
art,
that's true.
right?
Well, and especially
Is-
like emotionally.
It's an implied, right?
Right,
Like
right.
So that same kind
No
of
doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm non-apologetically trying to trick your mind and your brain into seeing something that's not there. And that's my.
But that's kind of
my
cool
goal.
because that is it's a challenge
Yeah.
for you
Yeah.
to like. How do I move my hand just right? How do I?
Exactly.
Right, and
No,
is
it's a
somebody
huge
else's eye going to see what you're seeing?
Right. Well, and sorry to go on about this, but I think there are a bunch of other examples in life that I think apply. For instance, when you read a book, the movie is almost never as good as the book because your brain has filled in those scenes.
It's already
And I'm not a fan of horror movies, but the best horror movies are the ones where you never see the monster. It's like, your brain.
It's all the anticipation.
Yeah.
It's,
So again, that's what I'm going for in my paintings is how can I make your brain imagine all of the detail and emotion and all of that.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah. There you go.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I'm anxious to see your stuff, by the way.
I can see. I have none of my stuff is here.
And I wonder why not, but in any case, there must be a way for me to see them. So
absolutely, there's a way. But I'm fascinated that. Gosh, I can't imagine where this is going to take you, and I'm glad that you decided to do it.
Yeah.
Because I think you could have not decided to do it. I think you could have decided to do something else.
Yeah. It's funny. With the benefit of retrospect, it's clear now that it was always in me, right? That I was just someday I was going to make a space for it. I hoped and was able to. So yeah. I think, and where is it going? I think my paintings will get better and better.
Sure.
I don't yet know what that means, but
and that's okay.
Yeah.
So that's fine. It doesn't. Yeah, because I mean, better is perspective,
For
right?
sure.
And it's really measured by you,
right?
not necessarily by anybody
No,
else.
that's so true, and that's another thing I've learned in my life. My career was very much in the gray areas where I made subjective decisions about aesthetics of products, etc. My whole career, and I was always really comfortable with that. And typically, I would design a product and then hand it off to engineers. Engineers were not interested in the gray area. Their job is to make stuff that won't fail, and so I've always been comfortable in that subjective world. And so when I do a painting, if I think it's good, and every artist would say this, so they don't care what anybody else thinks, and it's true though. It's like I can see whether it's a good painting or not, and that's all that really is important to me. So.
I don't. That's funny because I don't care what people think about my stuff. I want to know what they feel about my stuff.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I like it. Yeah. That's nice. Yeah.
Like
that's really nice.
If it got you, then I did a good job. I don't even care what it looks like.
No, I love it. I'm going to steal it.
Like if I steal it. Yeah. If I can convey, right, just like you. So if I can trick the eye, right? If I can convey to the heart, through the eyes, then I've done a good job.
I love that. Well, I can't wait to see your stuff.
And so and I remember when I was doing a lot of painting, I had a stack of paintings, and I called my friend and I'm like, dude, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff?
Right.
Like what?
Right.
Like it can't sit there.
No, that
makes no sense to me, right? Makes no sense to me. And I go, is this how it is? He's like, yep. I'm like, wow. This is not good. Like I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't have the space for it, first of all. I don't have, and most people don't. Like how many like good-sized paintings can you just have stacked up in your house?
Right.
And then it feels like such a waste, right? Like not a waste because I spent my time and I thoroughly enjoyed the process and all the stuff. But now that they're sitting there on the floor, like that doesn't feel good to me.
Totally agree. Right.
And yeah, so
well, especially, and again, I'm going to steal your. If you can trigger someone's emotions, that's its value, and so it's not going to happen if
I got all that energy
up
stacked up down there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's so I cannot barely stand it. So I don't. So I'm the opposite of you, as in I have hardly any of my stuff. I have stuff in my house that's mine that I make.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would prefer it to belong to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
So you've been successful at getting it out there in the world. It's in people's homes.
I mean, yeah, and that was unanticipated.
Yeah,
but I know that I like when I'm creating, I don't feel like it belongs to me anyways. Like I definitely am inspired. I have inspiration, and I'm fully connected in when I'm doing my art. But as soon as I'm done, I disconnect from it. Like it doesn't belong to me anymore.
Really interesting.
Right. And so I feel like I feel like a vessel. Like I'm a vessel. Like it comes through me, and I bring it into the world. But it's not mine. It belongs to somebody else. And so when that somebody finds it, that's the second level joy.
That's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Like, that's the second level joy. It's like right? Like yeah. Now they could take it home, put it in the closet. I do not even care.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see yours.
But so that's But I had a epiphany about this, like why this is like because most of the artists I talk to have kind of a sense of loss when they sell a piece, right? Because they afford them on songs, right? Because all of this stuff, and I'm like, it out of my house, right? Like that's my perspective. And but my epiphany was that I am a hairdresser. That's how I make a living.
Okay.
And I go, my art walks out of my door every day.
Oh yeah, very nice.
It never belongs to me.
Very nice. That is interesting. Sure.
Right. Every client that sits in my chair is a sculpture, is a painting, is a something, and it always leaves with them.
Very nice.
So it never belongs to me.
Well, and
the process is for me.
See, I love that, and I would contrast it with my career, where everything, every object that I designed was a compromise and generally a committee creation, and who wants to do that? And so for me, it's like I was very, very rarely happy with my career. My career as a creative person was very unsatisfying. And what I'm doing now is exactly the opposite. It's like every piece gets to be 100% Mark, for better or worse. You know, it's all me. And I was so hungry for that in my life and in my career that that's why the last 5 years of my life was wasted, because I'm a creative guy and that wasn't getting out in the world. So, but it's cool that you do get to see that out in the world every day, or you get to put that out in the world every day. That's awesome.
It didn't occur to me until yesterday.
That's good stuff.
Like, because I always felt like I must be a weirdo for feeling this way, but because I have gotten used to letting go of my art, right? Like, because it walks out every day. So I've gotten used to letting go of it. So I make the assumption it doesn't belong to me. Right?
That's good stuff.
This doesn't belong to me.
Very cool.
So.
Very cool.
So, anyways, all right. Any last words?
No. Thanks for doing this, though.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It's been fun.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Hanging out with me,
my
being
pleasure.
super patient.
Well, nice to meet you. Now I have a new friend.
Yes, you do.
Excellent.
I'll show you some of my stuff.
Very good. Please.